In vendor master detailed explanations, the next topic number 8, under the vendor general data, tax data. Under the tax data, step number 1, tax type. Tax type is nothing but classification of companies according to tax aspects. Then what is meant by tax base? Generally we used to call as percentage tax base. The definition is tax calculation for Brazil, especially in the invoice verification. The ICMS tax value is calculated with a reduced tax base for freight charges only. The law stipulates a reduced tax base of 80% of the transport invoice. The next one is tax split. The tax split also coming under calculation for only the country Brazil. The IPI tax value is split up for this vendor. 50% of the calculated IPI tax value is posted as deductible input tax. 50% is deducted from the inventory posting or posting to expense account. The next one is sales equalization tax. Indicates that business partner subject to equalization tax. Indicator via which a warning is issued when posting to the vendor account. The usage, the indicator is used for equalization tax in Spain for deliveries to the retail trade. So this equalization tax used for especially deliveries to the retail trade in country of Spain. The next one is label for VAT. Determines whether the company is liable to value added tax. VAT is nothing but value added tax. The next one is fiscal address. This address is used in Italy for business transactions with the tax office in Italy. The next field is information number, credit information number. External number as a reference for a credit agency. For information only, this number used. The next field is last external review. Last date on which the credit data of the customer or vendor was checked externally. The next one is tax number. Tax number at responsible tax authority. The tax number of the vendor at the responsible tax authority. The next one is tax number type. This field is used in Argentina. The format and the check of tax number 1 depend on the 2-digit tax number type. The tax number type is an identification type for tax in Argentina and is used for the TGI tax report. For example, 80 for CUIT. The next field is actual QM system. So this is supplier QM system. Usage. If a QM system is maintained by the supplier, you can store description of the QM system here. The dependencies. If a material is activated for QM in procurement, the system initiates the following check whenever the purchasing function are carried out. For example, when a request for a quotation is made or if a purchase order is created, whether the supplier's verified QM system according to supplier master record or quality info record for a combination of supplier and material meets the requirement for QM system as specified in the material master. When carrying out the check, the system relies on the defined assignments for target QM system and actual QM system in the customizing application. If the check is unsuccessful, a warning message is issued when a request for quotation is initiated and an error message is issued for all other procurement activities. So the next field is QM system 2. Validity date of certifications. Date up to which the certification of the QM system is valid. Reference account group. The next one is reference account group for one-time account, which is called one-time vendor. Account group via which the one-time account screen fields are controlled when posting to the one-time account. Usage. By using the account group specification here, you can define one-time account screen fields as required fields or suppress them. When changing or displaying documents, the field control takes place in a similar way in that the ability to change a field is also determined by the document change rules. If you do not specify a reference account group, then all one-time account group fields are ready for input when entering a document. So this is about reference account group. The next one is tax office. This is a category indicator for tax codes. This indicator is used to allocate customers and vendors to different tax categories. The system evaluates this information during document entry to assist users in selecting the tax code. The next field, TC, category indicator for tax codes. Category indicator for tax codes, which is nothing but this indicator is used to allocate customers and vendors to different tax categories. The system evaluates this information during document entry to assist users in selecting the tax code. The next one, collection authority form, entitled to deduct withholding tax form. Definition, date from which the company code is obligated to withhold tax for the given withholding tax type. This date must be entered in customizing under the withholding tax information for the company code. The customer is obligated to withholding tax for the withholding tax type. This data must be defined in the customer master record. The next one is the same field, entitled to deduct withholding tax until. So date to which the company code is obligated to withholding tax type for the withholding tax type. This date must be entered in customizing under the withholding tax information for the company code. The customer is obligated to withholding tax for the withholding tax type. So this is about vendor tax informations. We need to fill up the data based on our client requirement. The next topic number 9, country specific enhancement 2. Under the country specific enhancement 2, the first field is tax number type. Type of tax number assigned to the business partner. The usage, you can specify the tax number types as follows: USR EOU number, state register or individual taxpayers assigned by regulatory authorities, SR NP numbers. The tax number type is mandatory as it is required for statutory reporting purposes. The dependency, tax number type is an attribute which is required for business partners. The values are required to support data requirements for tax invoices and corrective tax invoices forms. Example, you are creating business partner master data for a new customer. For a legal person, valid tax number types are 1 or 3. For a natural person, valid tax number type are 2 or 4. The next field is valid from date. Date indicating as of when an entry is valid. The next one is tax number 1. So what does mean by tax number 1? Specifies the tax number, the usage entry, the appropriate tax number. Here you can see the left side country/region, the list of countries. So right side you can see the appropriate tax number. For example, the China, country China, VAT registration number. So for Colombia, NIT number. For example, Poland, NIP number. Portugal, NIF number. Romania, tax number. South Korea, natural persons, personal identification. So this is how, based on the country, you need to assign the tax number category. For the country of Spain, NIF number. For Taiwan, GUI registration number. For Turkey, name of business partners, tax office. For Venezuela, RIF number. For United States, social security number. UK, United Kingdom, company registration number. Like this, you need to use the different type of numbers based on the list out countries. So the next, for the dependencies, if the Philippines enter the taxpayer identification number with a V or N at the end as follows. If the business partner is liable to VAT, if the business partner is not liable to VAT. So you can enter the number and end with V. You can enter the number, if not liable, end with the N. So the next field is liable for VAT. Already we discussed about liable for VAT, so no need to discuss once again. So which is nothing but determines whether the company is liable to value added tax or not. Okay. So the next one is topic number 10 under the vendor master general data, vendor text. So under the vendor text, we can start with proposed language. So you can select which language is required to manage the vendor text informations in your client company. So based on client requirement and vendor requirement, you can set up the proposed languages. So we can select commonly English. The next one is language key. The language key indicates the language in which text are displayed, the language in which you enter text, the language in which the system prints the text. There are 3 options. So the next field is text ID. The text ID defines the various type of text related to a text object. For example, the object text standard text can have the following text IDs: ST for user specific standard text, individual text; SYST for cross application systems text; various IDs for specific application departments, you must have the appropriate access authorizations in order to access these text. So up to this topic, text ID, under the vendor master, the vendor general data related topics are covered. I explain each and every topics in that detailed field explanations. I explained very detailedly each and every field in a specific topic. Especially we covered 10 topics under the vendor master general data. The next one we can go for in vendor master company code tab. Under the company code tab, there are so many topics are there. When we go to each and every topics, we will discuss each and every field, purpose and requirement and usage with examples. Okay, thank you.